Drizzt Do'Urden, the dark elf from the Forgotten Realm series. It's one of the most compelling character hero archetypes like in modern writing. This is an amazing character who's has to be sliced on a lot of different levels. Like, we hold him up as a hero, but there's some things about the core of his story that we have to really understand to get who he really is. Like, he's not just a pure hero. In fact, his departure from his homeland is just an act of pure self-preservation. It borders on cowardice, because what he's doing is he's knowingly leaving innocents, children, slaves, Drow who've never embraced Lolth cruelty to the same, abusive system that he fled. They don't have his skills or his talents. A true hero would have stayed and fought to liberate his people. Instead, he abandoned them. So this is kind of at the core of him, because he's very conscious of this. Again, this is a character I really like, and I had to learn about a lot of his pain and why it's there. And this mirrors the psychology of like survival abuse. You can imagine you're growing up in a toxic household and you leave, you make it out, but you know that your brothers and sisters are enduring it, possibly even worse, because you left. And that has a fear or a guilt that just festers. And then he steps into a very different role where he now has the immigrant burden, because he comes to the surface, he steps on the surface, he's immediately this immigrant figure. He's will always be part of who he is because it's so visible. It's the stigma of his skin, where people don't see him as just him, they see him as a Drow. So while he has this hunger for belonging, he literally throws himself in service for others, like humans, dwarves, whoever, just to earn a place that he's never quite even given. So he has this exile paradox. Like, yes, he is free, but this freedom comes with the cost of abandoning those who are still enslaved in Lolth's world. And this makes him an archetype as we see today, this immigrant in real world who must overperform in morality, loyalty, and goodness just to be accepted by a society that will always still view them through this suspicious lens. And we see that. So his psychology is kind of riddled with the selective heroism. He's courageous against external monsters, but cowardly when it comes to confronting his homeland's pain. His choice not to return, not only to fight for those outside of his community, right, in lieu of that, makes his morality like it's kind of questionable. Like, he's gonna save someone else's people, but not its own. Like, that's kind of a wound that I think he's never healed. He never addresses that. I think he journals about it. And he talks about it. This idea of worth, belonging, guilt, not just celebrating his victories, which we know are like amazing. This guy's an amazing warrior. So, he's marred by his dignity. He is this immigrant who escaped this tyrannical system, violence, all this stuff, like this corruption. And his story reflects how a lot of, exiles feel. Do you owe something to this people, or did you only owe it to yourself and the life that you're building? Now, his skin color, it stands out. It's just a mark of suspicion that kind of, highlights xenophobia. Like, no matter what he does, there's a big portion of people that just gonna see him as that Drow. Although he's a very beloved character who we see so many, positive qualities. Like, he's one of the most, noble characters I think you'll read about. But we do have to understand what makes him complex. If we really love him, we will understand what's going on inside of him. He really reflects this mirror for like this global immigrant psychology. He's caught between guilt of his homeland, suspicion in his new adopted land, and this unyielding fight for dignity. Just because he does it very well doesn't mean he still isn't fighting for it. So the main thing I take away is that he isn't just this like good Drow. He's a survivor who ran. He's the immigrant who can't escape the color of his skin, and the hero who chooses one people over another. Like, there's some very interesting things that have to go inside your head in order to do that. So his legend is built not only on his sense of compassion, but on this contradiction that we know dwells within him. And that's the tension that creates this, this courage on one hand, cowardice on another hand, loyalty and abandonment all existed in the same place, which makes him just like a very psychologically rich character to feed on and to learn about. So give me your thoughts about this like very, very deep character who I just want to kind of shine the light on, like looking at what really makes him tick and how he became this character. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section, or if there's other characters you want to take a deeper look at, what's going on in there.